Hi everyone, just wanted to make a little video for Mental Health Awareness Week. My name's Jane, I'm the Safeguarding Coordinator, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about anxiety. So, my journey with anxiety started when I was really young. So, for example, I remember when I went to secondary school and I was really, really terrified of meeting new people. So, in my head, I would think if I say something, I'm going to say it wrong and they're going to laugh and think I'm silly. So I just wouldn't speak. So I just didn't used to speak to people. I used to go round and round various different scenarios of things that I could ask people in my head, but not say them very often. And it took quite a while to get out of that. When I was a bit older, it turned into more of a health anxiety. I've always felt like anxiety sort of roams around looking for stuff to attach itself to. Um, it kind of like sticks to everything. It's really weird. So yeah, um, health anxiety when I was young and really had very few health problems. Now that I'm older and I've got more health problems, I don't have any health anxiety. So it's strange. Um, as I've got older, more anxiety around work, things like being late, making mistakes, any kind of mistake that sends me into a big spin, potentially anyway. What else do I get anxious about? Just all sorts of just daily things, really. I what if scenarios quite a lot, what if this happens, or what if this backfires, or this goes wrong, or this happens with my daughter, or this happens with me, or whatever it can be. It just literally roams around and attaches itself to all sorts of stuff. So I guess what I've found helpful over the years are some things that I don't find helpful. First of all, right, I don't find helpful the whole well-being train thing. They're like, oh, go and have a relaxing this or do that, or um I don't find any of that useful. Like, I'm not saying I don't enjoy, for example, going and having a massage, or I don't enjoy going to the Turkish bath, or um definitely I think exercise is different because, like, if you go for a walk you burn off sort of adrenaline, don't you? So that's different. But kind of anything that's sort of meant to be a well-being self-care type activity, those things don't usually work for me. What does work for me is distraction. So for example, if I'm anxious about something at home and I come into work and just focus on work, that helps loads. um yeah, what else helps? Distraction. Thinking about the evidence I've got to support my catastrophizing, because one of the things that I do is make something really, really big. So, for example, being 5 minutes late for work and just thinking from that you're just going to be sacked, rather than someone might just say, you okay? How come you're 5 minutes late? And, maybe try and make sure you're not 5 minutes late again. That I would probably just be sacked for it. Um, so, thinking that a health problem is something really, really bad when it's perhaps not. Um, so yeah, that catastrophizing, that sort of thought really happens. So I tend to look for logical, rational evidence to support my claim. So, like, nobody likes me. Well, what's my evidence that nobody likes me? And oh, I haven't got that much. So I tend to do that quite a lot. Another thing I found useful is writing down the issue till I am so bored of seeing it that it becomes boring rather than anxiety provoking. So that helps. Another thing is remembering that anxiety is normal for some scenarios. So sometimes you are going to feel nervous. So, for example, when we had the away day and I went down the on the zip wire, that was normal to feel a bit worried about that. Like, why would you not feel a little bit worried about flying through the air? So, yeah, just remembering that it's not always a bad thing, that it can be just natural to feel like that is also useful to me. Getting sleep, if I can get sleep, if I'm not too anxious to sleep, is a really good one for me. Lack of sleep really triggers my anxiety stuff off. Um, Breathing out before I breathe in, because people say take deep breaths. Well, I used to take massive deep breaths and then be like on the brink of a panic attack because I couldn't hold. I was sort of almost breathing in too much. So I do that kind of square breathing thing, I think it is, where you breathe out and then you breathe back in again. That really helps me a lot. And just sort of being honest and open about it really helps me where I can. And So, for example, people knowing what my triggers are is quite helpful sometimes, but not overdoing it either. Just getting that balance. So yeah, I think the other thing that I recognize now is that being anxious, it makes me um I pick up on energies and on things that don't feel right, which is quite good in my job. Um, I tend to listen and have a lot of empathy. I don't think I am massively judgmental, although I think we all say that, don't we? But I feel like because I feel terrible when I make mistakes, I'm quite able to understand and forgive, or forgive's probably the wrong word, but kind of, see why people might be in the situation they're in. Um, Empathy is like, I think that comes hand in hand with my anxiety. I think it's made me kind of better in some ways as well, I suppose, is what I'm saying. It's not all bad, the fact that I feel anxiety. I can be risk averse, but I can also spot risk sometimes, which again is useful in my job and useful sometimes in my personal life. So I guess part of what's helped me is learning to accept that it is a part of me, that it's not really going anywhere, but that's not to sound defeatist. It's just that I kind of put stuff in place to manage it, if that makes sense. And that some of the things that are typically recommended to manage anxiety don't work for me. I think it's more about, as I say, distraction and disproving my own theories, which are sometimes quite outlandish. So anyway, I just wanted to share that really, and I don't know if it's helpful to anyone. Oh, one last thing is widening your zone of your window of tolerance, which is something that I learned um, via a therapeutic piece of work I did for anxiety. And what I'm trying to do is do little things that take me out of my comfort zone sometimes, just very gradually, just to build up my tolerance for things that make me feel anxious. And that has been quite successful in that I'm learning not to go into fight or flight mode as quickly. I'm kind of tolerating more stuff the more that I'm doing. So that's been a helpful tip as well. So yeah, I hope that's useful. And I hope you're all well and happy on Mental Health Awareness Week, although I know we're not all happy 100% of the time, and that's all right as well. But anyway, take care and sending love. Bye.